Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Silly Girl with Her Silly Sports, and welcome back to TDs with TD. Yes, I am finally back after my little hiatus. I am so sorry to those who have been waiting in anticipation for my next video. Life has been busy, life has been hectic, and I'll be totally honest, I just haven't had any creative juices flowing, any good ideas of anything that I really wanted to talk about. But now I have plenty ideas, so don't you guys worry. With the regular season starting in a couple of days, or by the time I post this, it'll be tomorrow, I thought it only appropriate to talk about the one team that will be determining my mood for the next 5 months, the Cincinnati Bengals. I thought I'd talk about what's been going on, the sort of contracts they've been doing, who got drafted, how I feel about the upcoming season, and of course, all the drama that has ensued. I have my notes here. I'm ready. So first I want to start with talking about the draft that happened back in April. The Bengals graciously were gifted the 17th pick in the first round. Do I wish they had an earlier pick? Of course I do. But beggars can't be choosers. So let's talk about who the 17th pick was for the Bengals. The Bengals chose Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. He's a defensive end, and there was a lot of drama during this offseason involving him, but we will circle back to that. They drafted Demetrius Knight Jr. in the second round, and he was 49th overall, and he is a linebacker from South Carolina. There was a little bit of drama with him, so I will also be mentioning that, but we'll get back to it. They drafted Dylan Fairchild in the third round. He was 81st overall. He's from Georgia, and he is an offensive guard. In the fourth round, they drafted Barrett Carter. He was 119th overall, and he is a linebacker from Clemson. In the fifth round, they drafted Jalen Rivers. He was 153rd overall. He plays offensive line, and he is from Miami. In the sixth round, they drafted Taj Brooks. He was 193rd overall, and he is a running back from Texas Tech. So let's go back to Shamar Stewart. If you guys did not watch the draft, basically what happened was when they announced Shamar Stewart was picked 17th overall in the first round, he walked out nonchalantly, nothing crazy. And when the lady who asks all of the draftees how they feel in this moment, he said that he was not happy, basically. I think he said something like, everyone before me is going to see why it was a mistake not picking me earlier. And personally, I found that to be really bizarre because one, you just got drafted to the NFL, and two, you just became a millionaire overnight. You don't usually see the people who get drafted upset. I totally understand the mindset of oh, I'm going to prove a point to the people that didn't draft me earlier. I get that. But if you're in the sixth round, it was just, like I said, bizarre. So off the bat, I was like, okay, not a huge fan. There's some weird things going on here. I'm getting weird vibes. As the months go on, they start to go back to training camp. Someone decided not to participate. Can we guess who? Yes, Shamar Stewart. He did not participate in the training camps because of contract issues. So let's get into that part. So the reason why he did not want to sign the contract that the Bengals gave him was because it included a new clause that was not seen in previous Bengals rookie contracts. It was a clause that would void future guaranteed money if Stewart engaged in detrimental conduct. So if he got arrested for something, if there was some sort of drug issue, some sort of alcohol issue with another person, then he would not be guaranteed the money in his contract. And like I said, it has differed from previous rookie Bengal contracts. Luckily, though, they came to an agreement in July, and since then, he has been participating. Now, there was also something with Demetrius Knight. He was kind of in the same boat, was like, hey, my contract is not like other rookie contracts. There are guys who got picked in the second round and they're going to make more money than me. Why is that? Why can't I get as much money as they are? That I sort of understand, but the Bengals aren't known for really making good contracts. Yeah. So I actually don't know what conclusion that came to. I'm assuming he eventually signed something. But anyways, back to Shamar Stewart. Now, why I think he was picked, I wouldn't even say the 17th pick is later on. That is probably right in the middle or really early on. there's a lot of picks in each round. But why I think he was picked as the 17th pick was actually due to character concerns. Apparently, he's a very good player, but as a person, allegedly, there's some issues. And obviously, we saw that when he got picked. And there's actually been a lot of players that got picked later on due to character concerns. So it's not an uncommon thing, and I just don't 1000% understand why people are the way that they are. But I digress. On the topic of contracts, let's talk about some contract extensions. So the most important and huge ones are obviously Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, because they are what make the Bengals good. Sorry, hate to say it. So Jamar Chase signed a 4-year deal for $161 million. This makes him one of the most highest paid non-quarterbacks in the NFL. Then we also had T. Higgins. He signed for $115 million after he got franchise tagged for the second year in a row. And obviously, they were going to get their money. I had no doubt in my mind that they were going to pay them. They are extremely good, and they are not worth, having this iffy ground to stand on. You want to get their money immediately. You don't want to risk losing them. Some other contracts that happened were Mike Gesicki. He got re-signed on a 3-year, $25.5 million deal. BJ Hill signed for 3 years as well with $33 million. So, in regards to the drama, not only was Shamar Stewart a part of that, but in regards to this topic of contracts, the biggest piece of drama was everything revolving around Trey Hendrickson. So if you don't know what the Trey Hendrickson situation is, from my understanding, basically he was guaranteed a certain amount of money during last season, and the Bengals just haven't given him that money yet. So Trey Hendrickson is like, hey guys, what's going on here? Where's my money? I think I saw something that they were like, okay, if you play that season, we will give you that money the next season. We are to the next season, right? And there's still no money. So Trey Hendrickson was like, all right, let's make a new contract. Let's make some new deals here. He wants to extend his contract to a long-term deal with more money guaranteed. But basically the Bengals were holding out on him. So he wasn't participating in training camps. He's not playing in the preseason games. But Hendrickson has been very respectful of the situation. Obviously, reporters are going to ask him what's going on. And he said the gist of it is, this is where I belong. This is where I want to be. But I feel I am valued more. And if they don't see that, then I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to go somewhere where someone does see my value. And then it came out that the Bengals said they were open to trading Hendrickson. Whoa, okay, that's the biggest mistake of your entire life. But it was because of stalled contract negotiations. So it sounds like the Bengals just sort of gave up. And they were just like, yeah, whatever. If anybody wants him, take him. We're dealing with some technical issues, so I'm going to have to use my phone as my new microphone. But anyways, back to everything that I was saying. There was no interest really in trade deals with him. I know that the Raiders showed some interest. They were the front runners for showing the most interest. I know that the Patriots were showing interest. I think maybe even the 49ers. I could be wrong. I think the Raiders were the most serious, or potentially the most serious, because this is the year that they want to win, and they will do whatever it takes to get that. During one of the preseason games, Trey Hendrickson was the biggest topic of conversation. Literally every single player that was interviewed on the Bengals was asked about the situation. And they all said the same thing, that he's dedicated to the team. It sounds like he loves the team and that he's serious and that he really wants to find a solution for this. I don't think that he wants to go anywhere else, but if he has to, then he will. They said that he's still involved, he's still showing up to practices, and he was at the games. And as a Bengals fan, this was the most frustrating thing to witness, because it's like, if he wants more money, give him the money. You have the money. Let's not pretend that we're broke here. And he's a very valuable player. He's an amazing player. And you want to give that up? You want another team to have that? Luckily, though, they came to an agreement. They came to a solution. It's a small one, but it's a step. They came to a 1-year, $14 million deal. So after this season, let's hope the same problems don't happen. Let's hope that they figure it out and give him the money. Give that man the money. So now I want to talk about what their offseason grade is. This is a combination of everything. The drama that has been happening, how they performed during training camps and preseason. And the Cincinnati Bengals got a C+. It's passing, it's doable, but it's not good. And I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. What gave them the plus was extending Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, which helped them maintain a strong offense. But what has lowered that grade, obviously, is the contract issues. There's a perceived underinvestment in their defense and the heavy reliance on a rookie to be able to replace veteran production as an edge rusher. And what I'm talking about is Sam Hubbard retired this offseason. He just basically wanted a new chapter in his life. He had, what I'm assuming, just grown from this. He had some injuries. I think that was keeping him back a little bit, so maybe that had to play into his retiring. But he is a defensive end. And who was the rookie that is a defensive end? Shamar Stewart. They are depending on Shamar Stewart, this rookie, to be the reason that they succeed. But they have some defensive weaknesses that we have seen last season, and I'm not surprised that we saw it in the preseason. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see it in the regular season. They have defensive weaknesses at the edge rusher position and also in the cornerback position. And they're now going to put as much pressure as they possibly can on a rookie. They expect this rookie to fulfill Sam Hubbard's position. They expect him to have such a high performance, but it's such a gamble. It's unfair to expect that kind of performance from someone who is literally having their rookie season. Oh, and also didn't participate in training camps. But also some offseason departures that I forgot to mention was obviously Sam Hubbard. Jermaine Pratt was released by the Bengals, and Zach Moss was a free agent who was also released. That's a running back and a linebacker. Obviously, we're okay on the offense, but to release a linebacker. Okay. And I think coming from the perspective not only of a fan, but if this was happening to any team, I think I would feel the same frustration. How do you look at your team, recognize the weaknesses, and not do anything to fix it? You're gambling, like I said, a rookie player. Whose idea was that? We have a new defensive coordinator, right? Al Golden, is that his name? So that's good. That's a step. But I don't think we have all the resources to effectively produce a good season defensively. I just can't comprehend. I can't wrap my mind around the fact that you're so focused in on something that's already good. You know it's good. You know it's going to be good. And you're not going to focus on what is poisoning the team. And that is not a good defense. We saw it in the preseason. A subpar performance in the preseason, I must say. But we're not going to do anything about it, is what I'm getting at here. That's what I'm seeing. And it's disappointing. Then again, you're never going to be 1000% happy with the team that you support. I just, like I said, can't understand why they don't want to work harder on trying to fix this. They're so dependent on their offense. They're so dependent on Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, even Chase Brown. They're so dependent on them. And you can't do that. You can't be dependent on one aspect of your team. Because if that part fails, then everything fails. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's unfair too. Not only are they putting pressure on Shamar Stewart, but they're putting pressure on people like Joe Burrow, on Jamar Chase, on T. Higgins. I think, though, that perhaps we will have another 9-8, 8-9 record, whatever it was last season. I think we will have that again. If not, probably 7-10. Hate to say it. But I still have a teeny tiny bit of hope. Because I am excited for the season. I'm glad that football is back. And I'm excited to see what will happen with the other teams that I like. And even though I am upset with my own team, I'm still excited to see what's going to happen this year. And who knows what will happen this season. We can only wait in anticipation. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed doing this. I'm excited to be doing it again. I finally have some ideas. And I do post a lot on my TikTok, and I'm starting to post a lot on my Instagram, so I'm going to include that for you guys to follow me. But I love you all so very much, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.